surprised you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it surprises anyone, but at the same time, you respect his decision. I mean, he's the guy who's been on those front lines working with the people that are suffering from COVID day to day and putting in all that time and all that work. And he understands it, and his decision was he wanted to stay there. He wanted to keep helping in that capacity. And I know it was difficult for him, but you respect the decision for him to kind of put his thoughts aside and kind of do what he thought was best to help out his community and the world as he sees it.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Pat. Welcome back to the facility. Was just curious, particularly in light of Larry's decision, what is your level of concern for your own personal safety through all this? And also, just wondering how well you've gotten to know Clyde Edwards-Helaire through all this. I'm wondering if he was
a little concerned. I mean, you'd be lying to say you have no concern, but at the same time, as I've been throughout the facility now, the last night and then a little bit today, and seeing all the protocols and all the safety things that Rick and all these guys have put forth, it's really kind of made me feel even better than I thought coming in, knowing how much that the NFL and NFLPA has really put into making sure that we can be as safe as we possibly can be. And so that's kind of put my mind at ease of knowing that I'm going to be in the best possible situation, given the time to be as safe and as healthy as possible. And then with Clyde has been through some of those workouts, and he has been out there. I've got to meet him and talk to him a little bit, and obviously stayed in touch throughout the whole process in general. And he's a guy that is a hard worker. You can tell by his demeanor. You can tell by the way he's out there and what he does off the field and on the field. And so I'm excited to have him involved in the offense now and get out there more and more with them and build some chemistry.
Let's go to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Patrick. Hope all is well, man. You mentioned last offseason that you had thought about the way that the 2018 ended throughout the offseason. I wonder what the feeling is coming into this year's camp, aside from all this COVID stuff, just football-wise, what's the feeling coming into this camp?
Yeah, I mean, my feeling is I'm ready to get back after it. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Once you hit this first day, I mean, it's all starting over again, and it's been a different offseason. Obviously, it started with the Super Bowl win and being on a high level, and then dealing with a pandemic and other movements that have kind of went throughout our nation. You've had to try to keep your head on straight and deal with it in the best way possible for you and the community around you. And so now I'm glad to be back in the facility, back with the guys that are my teammates, the guys that we built this culture together. And now it's about restarting the process, doing it over again. And we understand it's going to be hard. It's going to be an every day-to-day process, but we're going to go out there with the mindset of being the best team that we can be every single day.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Patrick, thanks for taking some time with us. A couple of your teammates this week, Chris Jones and Tyreek in particular, they made these national waves for not only wanting to repeat as champions, but to have 5 and 6 and 7 Super Bowls. As the leader of the team, do you like this type of talk? Do you encourage it? Or is it something where you say, okay, let's just focus on this day to day and maybe getting this one first here?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, you love the guys have the goals and they want to be in Kansas City for a long time, and that they want to win championships, and they don't want to be average. They want to be great every single year. But I think other than that, I mean, these guys and how they're talking, other than just the quotes, that they're talking about the day-to-day process. They're talking about how hard it is to be on the top, to get to the Super Bowl. If you look at our season, this last season, we had a lot of adversity, a lot of ups and downs throughout the season and in the playoffs. And so I think the guys have that mindset that they have those long-term goals. They know that they're going to have to go out there every single day and prove that. They're going to have to go out there with the mindset to be great every single day. And if they go through that process every single day, they'll never have any regrets at the end of their career.
Let's go to Soren Petro. Go ahead, Soren.
Pat, I wonder, how you feel going in all the time you guys lost actually on the football field. Now that you're there, a lot of people are speculating that you guys will have an advantage because everybody is back. But how far behind do you feel now stepping on the field since you guys haven't had minicamp?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't feel that much behind at all. I mean, I thought the virtual meetings went well. We had great attendance. We had guys, every guy was there. Every guy was paying attention. Everybody was in tune to the meeting. I mean, Coach Reid's asking people questions every 5 minutes, so you better be in tune. And so having that, and then as well as finding ways to work at home, obviously you haven't had that time on the field that you're used to, but I think with the NFLPA and the NFL coming to this acclimation period, that's going to get guys ready to go, get guys preparing their bodies so that we can kind of cut those injury rates down from not having OTAs. You want to make sure that everybody's ready to go, and I feel like guys are ready. Guys are ready to be back on the field. They're going to do whatever it takes to make sure their bodies and minds are ready for whenever that first game comes.
Let's go to BJ Kissel. Go ahead, BJ.
Hey, Patrick, I'm curious your thoughts. I know the news has come out of Laurent Duvernay-Tardif deciding to, basically skip this season to stay up in Canada and help out. Just curious your thoughts and if you've spoken with any of your teammates about that as well.
But he also loves his other passions, and being a doctor is extremely important, especially at this time that we're at in this world. And so for him, I know it's difficult for him. He wants to be out here with us. He wants to be a part of us. He wants to be a part of the guys. But at the same time, he wants to make sure he's doing something to make the world a better place. And I believe that he is doing that. He's seen it firsthand, and he understands that he needs to be in that place now, and we're going to respect it and give him as much support as we can.
Let's go to Michelle Steele. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hey, Patrick, thanks so much for the time today. I just from a conditioning perspective, if the season started tomorrow, do you feel like you could play? And is there an area that you've identified, an area of your game where you'd like to improve?
I don't know if I could play not on a conditioning factor, but tomorrow, if the season started tomorrow. But I think that comes with you get some reps. You got to get some full team. I'm in great shape. I'm in probably the best shape I've ever came into camp at, actually. And so I think conditioning wise and health wise, I'm in a great spot. But now it's about getting those reps. And as things do improve, for me, every single year, it's the fundamentals. It's about going out there, making sure I can make the plays within the pocket just as well as to make plays from outside of the pocket. And the mental game, the more reps that I get, I'll get better with the mental side of the game. And I'm going to make sure I push myself to be the best quarterback and teammate I can be every single day.
Looks like we have 3 hands up left, so we'll do our final 3. We'll go Danny, Harold, and then Darren. Go ahead, Danny.
Cool, Pat. Thank you so much for doing this. First off, with all these changing protocols and everything and how weird it's going to be, what's it been like just walking back into the building today? Who have you spoken with? What's that protocol kind of been like? And then also, how much of a difference is it going to make not having those preseason games and being able to have that acclimation period before you go into the regular season?
Yeah, I think, first off, with all the protocols, I think the NFLPA did a good job of getting all the players on the calls to make sure that we were prepared to be in the building and prepared for everything that was going to entail with that. And so being here today, you just see that the NFL and NFLPA are really taking this thing seriously. They're really taking the social distancing, the wearing a mask, everything like that seriously, so that we're not hurting each other or hurting anyone else out in the world with being here together and trying to build something. And then with no preseason games, obviously I don't know exactly how that's going to be because I've never done it before. But going back to college, I think that there has been times where you have to get to those first games and it's serious. You got to make sure you go out there and try to win football games. So I'll try to lean on that, as well as I feel like when you have this acclimation period, it will help guys build up and make sure their bodies are prepared. And I feel like that was what was most important. Other than, the preseason games are something that help a lot of guys out. But I think the health of the players and having this acclimation period to get everybody ready to go so that when we do hit the field, they're ready to go.
Let's go to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Patrick, good morning. Hope you're doing well, or early afternoon, or whatever it is. But, hey, a lot of NBA players have recently come out, and said in their kind of post-game conferences about Breonna Taylor and how they're pleading for justice for Breonna Taylor. I'm just wondering what you thought of the NBA players coming out and saying that, and also following back in our conversations back in June, are there any preliminary plans you've had with voter registration in the area, and what have you followed up on since that conversation?
Yeah, so first off, with the NBA players, I 100% have full support of everything that they're doing to help the efforts with Breonna Taylor and everything with the Black Lives Matters movement. They're doing a great job of just being an example, especially being one of the first organizations to go back and be a part of playing the sport they love, but also a part of staying with the movement and not letting their love for the sport affect their mind and their motivations of supporting the movement. And then with the voter registration stuff, we've actually had a lot of talks with Mark Donovan, the president, and Clark Hunt about what that's going to entail. We're hoping that we have something finalized within this next week or two. And so for us, we're going to keep doing whatever we can in order to make sure that people have good places where they're registered to vote. People have good places where they can go vote and have easy access to put in whatever support, whatever belief that they have. And that's what we have to do as a nation, is empower everybody to be able to go out there and make their voice known.
All right, let's close it out with Darren. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Patrick, thank you so very much. As it relates to the voter stuff, hopefully, yourself, Mark Donovan, you all will be involved in the 3rd and 5th district here in Kansas City, where it's most needed. Looking back at actually, are you now, because you were the alternative, I think when Dustin Coker was the player rep, have you now moved up to the player rep committee on how the outlook of this agreement with the NFL was?
Yeah, I think, I've kind of moved up into that rep role. I think Dustin's actually been able to kind of stay on the calls and teach me and help me more, even as someone that was a leader on the team last year. He's just a great guy and has kind of helped me and gave me advice and stuff like that. But I was on all the PA calls. I listened. I gave my questions. I thought the calls went well. There was a ton of questions. The calls were long, but they were worth it. We're in a time where we want to make sure we really cross T's, dot the I's, and have everything the right way and the way we wanted to have it. And I thought the executive committee did a great job of getting, first off, the protocols that are in place, and they've done a good job with the economics of how we're going to go about this season. And so I thought that they really pushed and got the things that gave us the comfortability to approve the proposal that was sent to us yesterday. And I thought they really laid it out for every single person, so everybody understood before we made the vote.
Patrick, we appreciate you taking the time today. Hopefully we get to see you soon here.
Thank you.
All right, guys, hang tight. We're going to have Clyde up next here in a few minutes. But Clyde is coming in here next for y'all.
Oh.
Hey, Clyde, we've got you, and we can hear you.
Okay.
All right, guys. If you're ready, we're going to start with Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt Derrick. Matt, go ahead.
There we go. Hey, Clyde. I'm curious about, Patrick had mentioned that you'd been involved in some of the private workouts with the guys. And just curious, how did that go for you? And once you do get into, these practice sessions next couple of weeks, what are you expecting to learn about yourself, and what are you kind of wanting to learn about the NFL?
So, I mean, really, most importantly, the first thing that we just wanted to get down was just simply, work on little things of timing, and that was the biggest thing, and just get comfortable with, even having play-ups and passes and everything else as far as just time, just getting comfortable with standing next to Pat and everything else is pretty much just what we're pretty much just working on. Other than that, coming in and pretty much just trying to dot my I's and cross my T's and do the right thing as far as just stay on the right path, and whatever I'm asked to do, I'm gonna do it.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Clyde, I was curious, as this process has gone on, you've had a really unique experience with the rookie not really being able to get in person. How much are you looking forward to this? And then when it comes to Andy Reid and the breadth of all he asks running backs to do, how are you handling taking in the playbook as maybe compared to LSU?
I'm just really happy to be here. This is my happy place. I've been doing this. I'm only been on the earth for 21 years. I've been playing football since I was 5. So this is what I do. And this is I can't wait. Everything, the setup, everything about everything here is just perfect for me. And I can't wait. The playbook, it was, as far as not having to do school and everything else, the playbook, I feel like it's easy. I've had, offensive coordinators, multiple offenses I had to learn year in, year out. So, I mean, this is nothing new. Just learning a new offense and then adjusting to the players around me.
Let's go to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Clyde, I appreciate the time. I'm curious what it will look like off the field with you, kind of the rules and regulations we're seeing now is that there could be fines possibly for going out and kind of excusing the protocols. Would it be difficult for you to spend, 3 or 4 months protocol at home when you got all this newfound NFL success?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, you can literally ask anybody in college. I probably went out 5 times. I can count on one hand how many times I went out. So I'm not a party guy. I stay at home. I chill, and then ultimately I'm usually just by myself. If I'm doing anything, I'm probably just hunting or fishing.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam. Adam, you with us?
Yeah, sorry. Clyde, just wanted to talk to you about your level of concern for your personal safety through this time, and what can you explain a little bit where you are with all that?
Right now, I'm absolutely comfortable. I took over 10 COVID-19 tests. All came back negative. The way everything is displayed here and the way everything is set up here, I feel absolutely safe. With my mom being a nurse and pretty much running her own veterans home back at home, and dealing with COVID-19 and everything else, I ran everything by her, how everything was set up. And I mean, if she's absolutely comfortable with it, being a first responder and someone who's on the front line during this pandemic, I can be comfortable with it. So I'm completely comfortable, and I'm just ready to get to work.
Let's go to Steve Walls. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, what's going on, Clyde? Over the past few months, we've all learned a little bit more about ourselves. I heard Todd Gurley say that he's never worked out so hard in his life.
Being able to press that pause button and slow everything down for somebody, that was went on this 15-0 run and then won a national championship, and immediately I was right back training and then to the combine and the draft and everything, and then everything was just a whirlwind. So being able to just pause, stop, and being able to focus on one, mental health, and just, 2, my body, just getting everything back straight and in tune to ultimately do what I love.
All right, guys, looks like we've got 4 hands up left. We'll go right down the line. Let's go Harold. Go ahead, Harold.
All right, I hope you're doing well. My question to you is, you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, but without the preseason games, what's your level of concern that you can kind of get in sync with this offense with as much moving parts that Andy Reid has, that you can get it done in the time that you have the acclimation period, and then when you get onto the field to the regular season to be ready to go?
I feel absolutely comfortable being able to. We did installs before everybody had the online installs, and I was able to run routes and do things from our playbook beforehand. So coming in, ultimately, my thing is just to learn. I have a lot of guys that's vets in the room and guys who've been here that I can absolutely learn from and pick their brain. So I have that at my disposal, and I'm just here to be a team player.
Let's go to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Clyde, the question that I have for you is simple. You know, your mom is in the industry, the health industry. My mom as well. What message would you give to fans? You know, those who, let's just say, that's on the other side that doesn't take this virus serious. You know, right now, because obviously people are going back and forth about wearing a mask, and you know, we know about the agreement. A lot of teams can't have fans in the stands. But what would your message be to fans out there who are against wearing a mask?
Well, for me, you know, it hits home. My mom, she actually had COVID, and then my little sister, she she has muscular dystrophy. So me wearing a mask and keeping everything just in tune and keeping everybody safe around. I mean, she was born with a lot of difficult, you know, a real difficult situation, and ultimately, if she gets it, it'll pretty much be fatal. So for me, it's personal. You know, wear a mask is something that you do when you just go outside and interact with people. And staying 6 feet apart is the main key. So wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, and ultimately, man, we should be able to knock this curve down. And I mean, everybody wants to be in the stands on a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. So let's just make it happen. Just wear a mask. As simple as that.
All right, I think BJ Kissel had a follow-up question, so I'm going to let him jump. Go ahead, BJ.
Yeah, Clyde, we spoke about a month ago about your sister, and I just want to follow up on that because you're getting ready to start your NFL career and just what kind of inspiration she's been for you, and some of the stories that you shared with me regarding, you know, when she was younger, you kind of looking out for her and having to you know, play you know, emergency, you know, doctor at different times. Just can you speak to that and what kind of motivation she's been for you?
Well, the biggest thing is she hasn't even been able to pretty much get out here to even see, you know, just whatever's going on. Just because, I mean, the nervousness of her coming out here and possibly contracting COVID, just because, you know, you have people around that can't simply just wear a mask or just do the simple things. She hasn't seen anything yet. So ultimately, it's hitting home. So ultimately, I'm just ready to get all this rolling.
All right, let's go to our final one. Seren, you're up.
Clyde, a lot of times we'll hear, you know, maybe a year or two down the road, running backs have come through and they don't play, and then they start playing, and coaches don't really say anything about why they're not playing after the fact. They say, well, he really kind of struggled with the pass protections. You talked about the playbook, not having to have football be your focus, that it's been pretty easy, but do they come at you right now? I'm curious what they tell you going into it. We hear that after the fact. Now that you're going into it, how much do they stress the fact that you got to protect the quarterback, that the blocking part of the equation is as much as what you do with the ball in your hands?
That's I've never looked down on pass protection. That's literally half of my job, and that's been instilled in me since I was younger. And ultimately, that's something that I knew that I would have to do in the NFL, and it's something I'm going to do in the NFL, and it's something that I practice and train for every day in and day out in college. So it's my job. I'm going to execute. I'm going to do what I need to do as far as protect Pat, and that's it. I'm going to protect him like he's a brother, which he is.
All right, Clyde, we appreciate you joining us, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, hang tight. We're going to get you Willie up next here in a few minutes. Hey, Willie, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll get started here. Let's start with BJ Kissel. BJ, go ahead.
Hey, Willie, just wanted to follow up with you after the virtual OTAs and everything, just how mentally you feel about the schemes and what you're being asked to do. I know that, Coach had said that you're learning a couple of different spots. Just how do you feel about how that's going and how some of the other veteran guys maybe help and bring you along?
Well, of course, I got a lot of great guys ahead of me with the vets, and we got two other rookie linebackers in with me also. We all just picking up everything fast. We're actually picking up everything fast now, and the defense isn't hard. It's just something new that we all have to get used to once again, just like college all over again, and just try to get comfortable with it.
Let's go to Michaela. Go ahead, Michaela.
Hi. So now that you're finally reporting as a Chiefs rookie, can you describe what that moment felt like entering the Chiefs facility?
Man, after it's been postponed for so long, it's finally here, and I'm motivated again, ready to get better and make the team better any way I can, and it just feel like I'm doing what I love to do again. So it's exciting.
Let's go to Adam. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Willie, just wanted to ask you about the ability to kind of fill the role of that linebacker position. The Chiefs have always had historic linebackers, and now you kind of fill in that role, and you join Anthony Hitchens and Damian Wilson. Talk about the ability to kind of fill in that other side and hopefully be that next big-time linebacker the Chiefs have.
Well, man, of course, I want to get in and, do as much as I can to play soon and right away. But really the main thing is just learning, trying to feel whatever spot coach wants me to feel, and just get my feet wet a little bit and get used to everything, and just once again do what I can to make the team better.
Let's go to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Willie, a lot of rookies talk about just the transition of getting their eyes trained, and that's really the toughest thing when they first come into the league. What if maybe some of your teammates, even anybody that's given you advice on that, and what are you kind of wanting to see when you finally get on the field and start going at least practice speed, if not game speed?
Well, I know it's going to be different, but I play in the SEC, so I feel like I'm gonna have a little heads up on it and be ready for it a little bit. But of course, it's the NFL now, so it's way different. But I think coaches will do a good job getting us rookies prepared, man. And I feel like it's going to be a good camp, and going into the season, we are going to be ready. So
let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Willie, thank you for taking some time with us. I have two quick questions. I was wondering, first, do you feel more natural in the Will position or the Sam position? And then furthermore, what makes blitzing you in a defense just such a good weapon for teams?
Well, yeah, of course, with the first question, Sam and Will has been something that I've played, since high school. So playing off the edge, playing outside in, and even playing Will when sometimes you play inside out, it's natural because I did it for so long. But and with the scheme, it's perfect, and with the blitzing, man, I feel like I can blitz from anywhere on the field, and I would love to be a part of a blitz. And I'll definitely show that I can blitz.
Let's go to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
Willie, I know you're a little ways out from actually getting on the field and playing, so I'm just curious how this timeline works. Has anybody come to you and said, don't touch 15? Has that message been laid out there yet?
Well, it has, but that's just common sense, really, man. Shoot, I've been hearing that since sophomore year of college. You don't touch the quarterback, so man, you're important players in the NFL, man. You don't even tag off on them. You just stay your way.
Let's go to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, well, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Kansas City. My question to you is actually about your home state, Mississippi. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes there going on with taking away the Confederate flag out of the flag, and your former teammate, Kylan Hill. Chris Jones is there, a Mississippi State guy as well. Just wondering your thoughts on how that all went down and how proud you are to see the state make a change.
To see it make a change, man, and seeing players, like Kylan and other college players step up and say something, knowing that they're playing time, and the chance that they might not play because he said he wasn't gonna play if it didn't happen. So see him step up like that, man, and just take pride in it and see a big change in the state and them making that decision is big, especially for all of us Mississippi guys, because the flag's been up for a long time. Everybody knows that. So to see it finally change is something special.
Okay, let's go to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Willie, big question for you. Obviously, you and the Houston Texans, you all, kind of got a chance to get started first and before training camp and the rookies and everyone reporting next week. What for those, for the other 30 teams is going to be like? What's a normal day for you all going right now, leading up into, to the veterans returning next week? What can you kind of give us the timeline on what you all are doing throughout the day, especially when you have to be social distance, and give us a behind the scenes picture of what that looks like?
Well, right now we're just testing every day from like 6 to 8 a.m. and we eat lunch around 12, and we have meetings from probably 1 to somewhere from 1, 2 to 4, somewhere in that range. This is our second day in, so today we're just doing physicals, getting medical stuff out the way and make sure everybody's good on that end.
Let's go to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Willie. I'm just wondering about no preseason games. Obviously, you come from college, which I recognize doesn't have preseason games. But did you feel like when you move on to this level, the preseason games could have maybe have done you some good?
Oh yeah, I feel like it definitely was going to help. Us rookies, man. Especially with the speed of the game and just knowing that it's a new level. I feel like preseason just going to be something to just kind of get us ready mentally and physically. But now we just have to take what we get, man, and just take practice seriously and make sure we treat every day like it's game day. So,
all right, looks like we got a few left. Let's go Seren, BJ, and then Amanda. Go ahead, Seren.
Yeah, I'm just curious your impression of Steve Spagnuolo.
We've had a lot of WebEx meetings, man. He's a great guy, before a coach. Like, I just can tell by the vibe that I get from him, even though over the phone, he's just someone who cares about you more than just on the field, but he's just he want to teach you. He want to make sure you become the best player that you can be. And he's just, once again, just a great all-around guy. So I love him.
All right, let's go to BJ Kissel. Go ahead, BJ.
Hey, Willie, with the news of, what this season could look like as far as fans and how many of them would be in the stadiums. I know from anybody who's watched you play has seen the energy and just kind of you play that conduit between the energy from the fans and out on the field. Have you thought about how that might be different this year without the energy necessarily from the same crowd, and how, you guys will handle that when you're out on the field together and just kind of celebrating a big play and things like that?
Well, we just, for one, got to be self-motivators, man, coming out the tunnel. And before the game, we got to get in our minds already that we don't have crowd noise. We don't have big-time student sections like college or nothing like that. So we got to just be, once again, self-motivators on 4th down, 3rd and goal, stuff like in goal line stands and things like that, man. Just pump each other up and just, once again, just bring the juice ourselves. So.
All right, let's go to Amanda to close it out. Go ahead, Amanda.
Yeah, just talk about having that, I guess, an untraditional offseason. How do you think that's going to affect you going into the season? No preseason games. Things have been pretty different for you. How's that going to affect you going into the rest of this season?
I think it's actually going to help me out a lot in a positive way, because I feel like, it's changes that nobody's used to, but it's going to make us stronger in a lot of ways. We're going to learn. We're going to have to pick up on the playbook faster. We're going to have to just really jump in right away and with no training wheels and just try to get at it fast as we can and try to hop on board. So it's going to make us better in the long run. So I'm cool with it.
Willie, we appreciate you taking the time today. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys, hang tight. We're going to get you Lucas up next here in a short time. All right, guys, we got Lucas coming in here now. We can go down just a little bit, Ted. Yeah. Perfect. There we go. All right, guys. Lucas, can you hear us okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right. Let's start with BJ Kissel. BJ, go ahead.
Hey, Lucas, it had been a little while since we've spoke with you. I know one of the things that Brett Veach had told us that had, caught our attention was that, you played predominantly tackle at college, but all tackle, and that he thought you could work in at guard. I'm just curious if you've had a chance to kind of look at both those positions and what you've been studying and what you like about potentially, having the versatility to slide in if that's what's needed.
Ever since getting drafted and we had that conversation at the combine about me potentially moving to guard, I've been practicing both guard and tackle, trying to get comfortable so I can be as versatile as possible, help my team out.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, thank you for taking some time with us this morning. Right after you were drafted, you joined us and you just made a point to say that your health was ready to go. I just was curious, as this offseason has gone on and you've been in charge of really your own physical well-being and working out. So where are you at from a physical standpoint as you come back from the hip thing?
I'm fired up, firing on all cylinders. You ready to put the pads on and get some contact. It's been a while.
Let's go to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Lucas, you mentioned working out at guard during the offseason. I'm just curious if two-part question here. Have you worked at left and right? And if you are called upon, especially in light of LDT's decision to play the right guard spot, how much easier is it for you from a technique point of view to go from right tackle to right guard?
I say I work both left and right the whole time because, I just want to be ready to play anywhere on the line. But I think it'll just help having the hand combat and stuff that I've been doing at tackle, having that at guard.
Let's go to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Thanks, Brad. Hey, Lucas, I'm just curious regarding what you heard about Laurent's decision and how that struck you in sort of a big picture sense.
I was surprised, but big picture doesn't really mean much to me. I'm a rookie. I'm just coming in to learn and try to get ready and help the team in any way.
Let's go back to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Lucas, during the offseason on social media, we could see that you were heavily involved, even leading some of the protests with Black Lives Matter. And I just was curious, wanted to give you kind of the floor as to why that is a cause that matters to you so much.
Well, being as I'm African American, it's just a part of my lifestyle. I want to do better for me. I want to make it better for the people who come after me and everybody, all my brothers. I can't just stand around and let it happen.
Let's go to Michaela. Go ahead, Michaela.
Hi, Lucas. So have you been in contact with any veterans or mentors to prepare you for what's ahead? And also just what have you been doing personally to gear up for the season?
I haven't been in contact with anybody really. I'm excited to now start to do that now that we're finally here. But as far as preparation goes, just cross-training at both tackle positions and both guard positions so that I can do whatever I'm asked to do.
Let's go to Darren Smith. Go ahead, Darren.
Hey, Lucas, my question for you is I guess kind of two front. Obviously, this is the first time in NFL history that they're going to have that they're not going to have a preseason. As a rookie coming in, what challenges do you feel that you're going to face and other rookies will face without having any real live game action prior to the start of the season? And do you think that's going to be a help or a hindrance to someone in your position?
I think it could either be. It depends on how it goes for you personally, but I think every rep is going to be even more important than previously because you don't have those preseason games to go and show your stuff. So in practice, you can't make any mental errors or any mistakes because it's going to count a lot more.
Let's go to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Lucas. So you've been training virtually, learning the playbook, everything with the Chiefs over the course of this offseason, but it's been kind of a unique offseason. How excited are you to finally be in the facility and just getting back to football here?
I'm super excited. We got in here. It's nice to see how they're doing everything safety-wise, keeping us safe, making us feel comfortable. But I'm really excited to get on the board and get on the field.
Let's go to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Hey, Lucas, you talked about the cross-training when you switch positions. Can you speak to some of the, what are some of the differences and some of the nuances between playing guard and tackle? What are the types of things you have to work on, especially to switch from tackle to guard?
Guard, I definitely am going to have to be more firm, less space in between me and my opponent.
and I'm gonna have to shut them down a lot quicker than if I was at tackle and I had time and patience and all that.
Let's go to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Lucas. So you mentioned LDT earlier. I believe you spoke French too, so you kind of missed out speaking French with your buddy there.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have a teammate that could speak French too. Sometimes joke around.
All right, Lucas, I think we got everybody. We appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, guys, hang tight here, and we're going to get Rick your way here in a few minutes. And same deal as we've been doing, we're going to keep him on schedule. I know we got a lot of questions for him. He will take a few questions, but we got to shut it off. We'll have Coach coming right behind him. So hang tight, and we'll get you Rick. Now, and we'll take questions, and I think he's going to give us a quick open here. So once he gets in the room, we'll start rolling.
Look what you guys did.
Hey, Ted, can you lower that camera a little bit for us there? Perfect. All right. Rick, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We're ready to go.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to do all this press and everything in these unusual times. The last time I talked to you, my title was Vice President of Sports Medicine and Performance, and I've added Infectious Control Officer to that title. Hopefully it's temporarily. So the ICO that's appointed by each team, who was mandated by the NFL, is the person that oversees our infectious response team, carries out the protocols, puts together what's called our infectious disease emergency response protocol, which is the IDER, which was also mandated by the NFL and the NFLPA. So that's been my job the last 9 weeks, and continues through until the pandemic's over. My infectious response team includes, and I got to give them a thank you because of all their hard work through this time, Jeff Miller, Mitch Reynolds, Sean Tyrants, Brandon Hamilton. They put in unbelievable work. So just so you understand how the process went, the NFL put out protocol, and it's an ever-changing document. It's over 80 pages long. I joked with my wife, if I would have studied as hard in college as I am studying this protocol, I'd probably be an attorney and not an athletic trainer. But this thing is detailed. It's very well done. It was put together by NFL and the NFLPA in a joint effort. How they put the protocol together is they put together work groups in different areas, such as testing, acclimation of players, what to do with a player that's going to be that tests positive, travel, sanitizing. So there was these little work groups, and there was representation from both NFL and NFLPA. I was lucky enough and humble enough to be on the group that did acclimation, which was the ramp up for the players. But I have colleagues, former assistants that are now head athletic trainers that headed some of the committees on testing. And then Alan Wright was involved with our equipment managers in the league. So, and then of course you guys know that Andy was very involved in the process, and Clark was at the forefront of ownership in the process. So the Chiefs had big say in the protocol. As the protocol came out, we were charged with doing this infectious disease emergency response document. And that is what is our document and our motivating force behind what we're doing at the Chiefs. So we followed that document. That document ended up being 30 pages long. And it was a joint effort. I had to head that group up, but our facilities team, Mitch Reynolds, Kirsten Krug, the physicians, everybody on this emergency response team, including Brad and Ted with the protocols for what you guys are going to do and how we're going to handle that. We were all involved in this process. I'm proud to tell you we were the first team to get approved with our IDER, our infectious disease emergency response document. So that document had to be approved by the NFL first. Then it went on to infectious disease people at Duke, and then it got approved by the NFLPA. And the only way that gets approved so quickly is because this organization is a team. And I will stand here today and tell you, us being in the Super Bowl and facing adversity in the playoffs and banding together as an organization and experiencing the week in Miami absolutely helped me, this organization, and my team be able to accomplish what we accomplished in the last 9 weeks, to provide an environment that we think is as safe as possible for these players, coaches, staff, and all of our families. I can't say enough about the support that I got from Clark Hunt, Mark Donovan, Coach Reid, of course, and Brett Veach as we went through this process. They were very involved. They got constant updates. They gave me constant feedback. They gave me support with the infectious response team, and I'm grateful that I'm in Kansas City and grateful that I work with that leadership. I've got to give a shout out to my staff. So Tiffany Morton, Evan Kraft, Julie Freimeyer, and David Glover, they have not had a vacation. They did not leave Kansas City. They did not leave this building because they were attached to me. And it was the only way we could get through the COVID policies is with their support. Now, we had a few guys in this summer this winter, spring, summer doing rehab, and we did that in the morning, and then we worked COVID policy the rest of the afternoon. There's no way I could have done this without them. And once again, let me go back to that championship team mentality. This is a championship organization, and when it comes to COVID, that's how we acted. And I'm once again, I'm super grateful for that. As far as the protocol goes, I think everybody's focused on testing, and the NFL's hired bioreference labs to do the testing, and we're well underway. Testing is one part of what is going to keep us safe. So there's a bunch of other things other than testing. Now, listen, testing's really, really important, but I think you guys, the media, and it's not your fault. That's the focus, because that's what the NBA, everything was testing. But you got to know that. So I'm wearing this little device. I don't know whether you can see it. That's a contact tracer. So everybody who's tested and they come in the building has to wear that contact tracer. That contact tracer lets you know who you're around. And then if, like tomorrow, if we got a positive test, they would know that I spent 5 minutes with Ted Cruz or 4 minutes within 6 feet of Brad G. They would go back and trace that, and then we would put our protocol in place based off of the tracing. So tracing it's a huge deal. Connexon is the company that's doing the tracing. It's a lot of manpower, but everybody's accepted it. In fact, I had a veteran player today say, when am I getting my tracer? So they understand it. They understand that it's testing, tracing. Then the other stuff is social distancing and sanitizing. I can't thank the facilities people at Arrowhead and here at the practice facility enough. Rocco Mazzella and Brandon Hamilton, they've gone out of their way to make it right for us. They've worked through the night a couple times to make sure that we had everything. We've taken the stadium and converted it over for training camp. We're using the concourses for meeting rooms that are very socially distant. We've changed our cafeteria and our cafeteria policies where we have social distancing and tables that are spread out with only 2 or 3 chairs at a table. Everything's to go, no buffets. We had to change all that, and Aramark was a big help in that. As far as sanitizing goes, the group here at the practice facility right now and going on to the stadium with training camp, they look like they work at Disney because they are behind you all the time, wiping door handles and wiping touch points. And, you know, we have these mister guns. They're electrostatic sprayers that spray chemicals. Every time the team leaves the locker room, they clean it. Every time they leave the weight room, they clean it. We're, you know, this building is clean. The stadium is clean, and my hat goes off to that group of workers that are working tirelessly to make sure that we're safe. You're going to see some changes when you come to practice or when you view practice, because hydration, there's no more squirting water in a guy's mouth. It's now all individual bottles. There's no more towel sharing. You're going to see some changes at practice with how we go about it. You'll see equipment guys wiping down pads in between reps. And all players will wear the tracing device at practice as well. So this is a very serious, very big undertaking, but we feel good about it. Our players so far have bought in. Our coaches have bought in. The staff has been with me the whole way. So the staff that's been here, they bought in, and they're anxious to know. One of the big pieces to the whole thing is education. So we've educated the players that have been in. We've educated the staff on 3 occasions, 3 separate PowerPoints. We will educate the veterans when they get here. And the really neat thing that we're doing is we're educating the families of all players and staff that are going to be in these tiers. And we want them to know that we're doing everything possible to make their loved ones safe. And, you know, I came here with Andy Reid for a reason, because Andy Reid cares about his players. I think Andy Reid loves football, and he loves the pageantry of it, and he loves game planning and all that, but he loves his players more. And you can see it when those players talk about him. And because I head up our health and safety and medical group, Andy has instilled that in me to love these guys and love them like family. And that's how we've approached this pandemic. And I've been on the phone with them, trying to assure them, getting their feedback, what their worries are. And it's been an interesting time for me. I'll leave you with this, and then I'll take a few questions. So pandemics aren't fun. Crises aren't fun. None of that. There is a silver lining in this one for me working for the Kansas City Chiefs. And that is that I've learned so much about the people in this organization while doing this unbelievable task, something that I had no idea I was going to have to take on. But you find out about trust, you find out about loyalty, and you find out about reliability. And if you take those 3 words, at trust, loyalty, and reliability, and you go back to the 2019 season, that got us through. And that also will get us through this pandemic. So with that, I'll take questions.
Go to Herbie first. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Rick, how are you?
Hey, Herbie.
Hey, a 2-part question here, and it's phenomenal what you've been able to put together there. And I think we'll both agree that even the best laid plans of mice and men can often go awry, and positive tests could happen here. In the absence of a vaccine, what is the acceptable agreed upon percentage rate for positive tests during camp? And then secondly, what are the protocols on the
Just because I feel it's their answer. First of all, just a little education. The fastest vaccine in history, in world history, is 4 years, and that was for the mumps. We are right now at about without a vaccine. You know, there's viruses out there like HIV that never got a vaccine. The common cold doesn't have a vaccine. Herpes doesn't have a vaccine, right? So we have viruses that don't have vaccines. There's no telling that we're going to get a vaccine for this. So we can't think like that. We've got to go to the next step. If we get the vaccine, great. We've got to go to the next step of testing. Every team's going to have positive tests. We know that. Society, I mean, we're testing positive at 70,000 a day right now. We know that. What we hope is we limit our tests, or limit our positive tests. And when we get a positive test, we act accordingly with the CDC to get those people isolated, get them healthy, and get them safely back to work. And there's a whole lot of protocol that would take me an hour to talk to you about, because it's a lot of it's on not an individual basis, but an individual case. So it doesn't matter whether it's Patrick or whether it's me. We've got to follow the guidelines that are positive test, symptoms, days, antibodies, all that kind of stuff to determine when it's safe for that person to come back to work. And I think the NFL will release that eventually. I don't think I've been cleared to release the actual days. Certainly all of us that do healthcare for the NFL and the coaches and the general managers, we've asked a question about Fridays before games. Right now, we don't have games, so that's a good thing. But they're putting some protocols together as we get closer to game time. And listen, it's not going to be normal. This isn't going to feel normal for anybody in this building, any of you guys, because you know what? It's not normal. So we've got to adjust. And I'll go back to the 2019 season. No team adjusted as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to adjust, and we're going to make it happen, and we're going to get positives, and we're going to take care of those guys. And when it's safe to come back to work, they will. We're going to get positive tests within the staff. We're going to take care of them and their families and get them back to work when it's safe. We're chasing an unknown right now, which is okay because there's a lot known, but there's a little bit of I wouldn't say we're chasing unknown. We're chasing something invisible. There's a lot known about it. It's not unknown. We're chasing something invisible. My wife asked me the other night, how are you doing this? And I said, hey, when we were in Jersey, remember when we had water in the basement? She said, yeah, you didn't know where it was coming from. And I said, exactly. You don't know this. I mean, you've got to take universal precautions and do your thing. But
all right, guys, we've got time for a couple more. So we're going to go Adam Teicher, and then we'll let BJ close us out. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Hey, Adam.
Hey, couple things. First of all, now that guys are coming back in the building, how would you describe their attitudes, whether it's apprehensive or wary, or just generally speaking, how would you describe that? And also, I know you've seen a million things, just about everything since you've been an athletic trainer in the NFL, but you haven't seen anything like this. What's it been like for you to get your arms around this in that respect?
Yeah, two really good questions, Adam, and I'll answer the first. With our players are so respectful of our staff, and that's led by Andy. You know, he's kind of created this culture in the building, and they know that I worry about them. And I reached out to them in the off season to find out how they felt about certain things, so that we could put protocols in place. And one of the two of the things that just inside stuff that came across my desk when I asked the players, they were worried about their families. And they said the people that they know that had COVID felt guilty. So automatically we instilled an education program for the families, and there's going to be testing available for the families. I took that to the NFL, and so did others. And then with Sean Tyrants on our staff, that's why he was on our infectious response team, because so many people who get COVID feel guilty. And the players are worried about that. They were like, what if I get somebody else sick? What if I get the coaches sick? What if I can't play? So we have that as part of our protocol. Now, since they've come to the building, I'd say the response is pretty positive. They're like, whoa, this is pretty impressive what facilities has done. They see the cleaning people. They see the testing. They see what we're going through to make sure they're right. They're wearing their tracers around, and they get that. So the rookies, and then, of course, I got Pat and Matt and Chad here, you know, so they're veteran guys. And then I've had 4 guys rehabbing that they've been through it too. And they're like, man, this is way better than I thought. And I got to tell you, I keep bragging about the organization. I had some fears about this, how we would pull this off and how we would go forward with it. It's been, I won't say it's smooth because this isn't normal, right? It's not smooth, but we haven't had the issues that I thought we would have because the staff has embraced it and people are all taking responsibility. One of the things that Pat and I talked about during the whole process, and I talked to Pat a good bit about it, he was like, Rick, some of this you can't handle. This has to be on the players. And I said, all right, you and the Badger got to take care of that. And I talked to them both, and they said, we got you. We'll make sure that we want to really run it back, and we want to be in Tampa. And the only way we can do it is if everybody's healthy. So they got to take care of themselves when they leave the building. So there's a little bit of peer pressure there. Your other question was, how did I take this on? I'm not sure. Over a long period of time, all of a sudden. So this took weeks and weeks and weeks, and I kept telling Ted and Brad and my staff, I don't know whether we're ever going to play football. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're here, and it's in place, and it'll constantly change. And I've embraced it because I see the silver lining in it. I see the good in people. I see how much they care about each other, and that's very fulfilling to me. It's something that not every NFL team organization has, and so that's made it easier for me. It's been a really tough ride, but it's been a good ride, and I'm proud of the people that have worked on my team to get it to this point, and I think we're anxious to see where we go with it. Certainly, we don't want to get anybody sick, but we still want to play football. They all love to play football. You guys love football, and that's where we're at.
All right, BJ, go ahead and close us out.
All right, Rick. David Coley told me years ago that one of the things he loved about working for Coach is that he could tell you on any given day, any particular day of the year, exactly what he'd be doing because of how much of a creature of habit Coach was and how he instilled that in all of his assistants. How has it been like for you, as long as you've known Coach, working through this environment where he doesn't have, a playbook to kind of get through what this looks like? And you speak to the relationship you guys have and how that's helped you guys and how you've helped him kind of set the stage for how he can, structure this to try to get the team ready to play September 10th.
Yeah, BJ, in your years here, you've really captured the emotion of what Coach is about and what I'm about with Coach. So I think I've told some people on the call before, there's two men in the world that I take a bullet for. One's my dad and one's Andy Reid. He's a father figure to me, and he's been awesome in this process, but he's also been a big redheaded bear at times because of the unknown. And he likes to lay things out, and he has a schedule ready in May, and we're in July, and the schedule's it's just being finalized today because we just got the schedule protocols. I felt like this was a chance for me to give back to Andy Reid. He's given me so much and taught me how to be a good athletic trainer. And I feel like he and I are very close, but I walk in his office on Monday mornings with problems. And this was one of the rare times of my career that I could actually give him solutions. And so he was struggling with the unknown from the league. And I was getting information earlier because it was all medical before they involved the coaches and the general managers. But then they started on the West Coast. So they were late for me, but we would go through, phantom schedules. And when it was all said and done, he came back to town. I said, all right, now that we're done doing this and we're moving forward, how many schedules do you have? And he showed me on his iPad, he had like 20 different schedules because every time they would throw us wasn't a curveball, but it was a change in the protocol. He changed his schedule. And he's got it pretty mastered. I mean, it's amazing because last night I got the same printout that I've gotten every year for camp. It was just in July instead of May. And then we had to put a tweak on it this morning. But he's a master at organization and all that. And I felt like this was the first time where I could give back to him and say, okay, Coach, this is what the rule's going to be. How are we going to do this? And he would say, I got it. And he'd call me 20 minutes later. He'd go, what do you think about this? So this was I'm not telling you this was fun for me, but it was different for me. And my ability to assist Coach in doing the protocols was very, very fulfilling to me. The fact that he was the main coach on all these calls also gave me a little thrill because I was giving him information and we worked stuff out before he get on the call. And he's a beautiful mind. I mean, he really has a focus on what to do and the right things to do. I've said this to you guys before. His dad was an artist. His mom was a doctor. He's got art and science like nobody I've ever seen. And I've been on Zoom calls religiously with science people. And then you get to Andy who throws the art into it and it all makes sense. And I've gotten off calls with the medical people and said, I don't know how we're going to do this. And I'd call Coach and he'd say, okay, we're going to do it this way. That's the art of the science that Andy Reid's so good at that we never see because we basically enjoy Sundays where his art is unbelievable, So I know I bumped a lot of people up, but it took this whole village to get us to today. It's going to take the whole village to get us to September 10th. And it's going to take even more people as we add to the ship to get us through February. But I thank you guys. And I know very few people say, I miss seeing you guys around. I really do. I really miss you guys. So thanks for the time.
Thank you, Rick. We appreciate it. All right, guys, hang tight. We're going to have Coach come in the room next, and we'll get rolling with him. I'm going to clear our hands, guys, and you guys can coming in here now. Hi, Coach. Can you hear us?
I sure can.
Awesome. Well, we're ready to get started whenever you are.
All right. Well, listen, it's great to see everybody. I've got your faces planted on chairs here, but I also get to see on the computer. Ted's got it really set up here. So, and I'm excited. I was excited to see the rookies last night. It's great to have them in here for really the first time that we've had a chance to see them face to face, and we appreciate that. Sure appreciate all the hard work that everybody's done to set up this camp and make it possible and safe at the same time. So Mitch and Rick just got done talking to Kirsten, Krug, and Rocco with facilities. They've just gone above and beyond. Again, Mark Donovan has overseen that and made sure that things were working efficiently there. And it was all graced by Clark Hunt. So those become very important. I appreciate the league and the union and them working out an agreement where football could go on in a safe manner, and we can look forward to a season. And then listen, here we sit. We sit with the young players now. We have an opportunity to work with them. Excuse me, work with them. We start off with a few days here where they'll be lifting and conditioning, and then we'll ramp up into some other things and gradually get ourselves into pads, and we'll incorporate the vets once they get in. We'll give you all the detail to that down the road here when it's all categorized and mastered here by the coaches and myself. So other than that, listen, it's what a great opportunity. It's a very unique time. We think we're going to put the players in a position where they're safe. It's a responsibility though at the same time. So it's a responsibility for the coaches, for the players, and anybody dealing with the players to take responsibility to follow the format that's set for us to fight this virus and still have an opportunity to play football. So I will continue to work with the players on that. The players, again, ability, I guess, would be the term when we all leave the building as coaches and players, that we handle ourselves properly and keep ourselves as safe again as we possibly can, and that'll be important for this season to move forward. But again, it's quite a neat setup. I wish you guys had the opportunity to see it. I'm sure you've seen probably pictures of it by now, but the setup is tremendous. We're going to work in the stadium and down in our facility here, but the majority of the meetings and food will take place at the stadium, dressing room at the stadium, and then we'll have our practices down here, and we'll be able to lift down here also. So, all right, with that, time's yours.
We'll start with Adam Teicher.
Hey, Andy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Hey, a couple things. I wanted to ask you first about your reaction to Larry's decision to opt out this season, but also was wondering now that guys are back in the building every day now and you're cranking this thing up, what's your level of concern for your own personal safety is?
Yeah, so listen, I'll start with Larry. I'm a huge Larry Duvernay-Tardif fan, so and I also was raised by a doctor, so I understand the dedication that it takes to be a doctor. We're all blessed to have doctors in our lives. They're givers, they're not takers. They're givers, and they're healers. So they want the best for you, and so Larry has that quality, and you're seeing it to the utmost here. I just think it's tremendous dedication to his profession, what his future is going to be, and mainly to the people that he gets to help. And so my heart goes out to. I had a great talk with him, great visit with him. His players support him. the veteran players support him and the coaches support him, and we know, we understand when football is over, this is going to be one of the greatest doctors ever. So it's we appreciate that. The great thing about doctors, the ones that I've been in touch with over my life here, and like I said, I was raised by one, and I've got three of my closest friends are doctors. So they're givers, man. And they're not the takers. So they're very humble people that want to help you and heal you, and they're not out looking for like Larry. They're not out looking for the pat on the back that they're doing this or that. They're not looking for attention. I mean, Larry is buried in. He's not looking to do interviews and all of this stuff. He's buried in and trying to get the work done that he needs to heal people. And man, I mean, what a dedication that is, and a love that is. I'm so happy and proud. As far as the setup here and feeling like we're in a safe environment, I think people have gone to great ends to do this. We're as safe as you can be here. Like I said on this, so Adam, dedication and staying disciplined when you leave this facility will be important. When you're here, this is a safe environment, and so you've got to continue that once you leave here, and so that ends up being important. And we have a plan for that too, so that we'll talk to the players about. And so I feel good about it myself. I feel good about it. Yes.
Let's go to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, you're looking good. Always a pleasure to see you.
Yes, thank you, Herbie. Nice haircut.
Hey, Coach, in hindsight, in light of LDT's decision, how big is the selection of Lucas Niang now that you look at it, and how much do you anticipate him starting off camp, getting reps at right guard?
Yeah, sure. So, well, let's get him in here first. I mean, let's get him in practicing, and we'll get him adjusted and see how he does. But Remmers is another one that we picked up who's a good football player. I mean, we've got good players here right now, so we're going to be we'll be okay. And at the offensive line, and obviously to add him into the mix, we're excited to see him. We get a little chance here with the rookies to visit with them, so we're excited for that. But yeah, I think we're in good shape all the way around. We love to add Larry, absolutely, but we understand his cause. Absolutely understand that too.
Let's go to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Coach, thanks for taking some time with us this morning. I was curious, you're lauded as one of the most creative play callers, if not the most creative play caller in the NFL, with the virtual offseason, this ramp-up period, no preseason games. I just was curious how much you think that is going to be impacted as what you're able to yearly do as far as almost having a new offense seemingly every season.
Pete, we've tried not to let that slow us down in that area. And then we'll see. We haven't been able to go on the field, but we're going to. And the way the way that the league and the union has put this together, we're going to end up with enough padded practices where you can go full speed, and then the shell and padded shirt practices where we should be fine for timing purposes. Right? This is the throwing, and so. We have an opportunity to do that with the new rules that have been put out for us.
Let's go to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy. Just one more thing about Laurent. Obviously, it's a momentous decision, but I actually wonder if you were even surprised by it. And then just a side point also. Do you see? I know you were a lineman. We all know you were a lineman, but do you see a little bit of the lineman protector ethos in kind of what he's done and along those lines?
Yeah, you're taking me right into a little Greek philosophy there. I do. I know Larry, though. I mean, I've been with him here now since he came into the National Football League. So I get it. I mean, I just think it's what a tribute to him and to the profession. If I didn't know how doctors are wired, but I know. I mean, I've got it. I know exactly how they're wired and the love and dedication that they have to protecting and healing. And so they're natural givers and healers. And so it didn't surprise me. No, it did not. To answer your question, like I said, I had a great visit with him. A unique situation.
Let's go to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, I know you were kind of the lead coach on how this was all going to be put together. Can you kind of explain how you guys are working for 9 weeks, yet the agreement just came together a couple of days ago? Like how you can get everything done, or did you have to go at the end and switch things around because the NFLPA ended up wanting? How do those timelines mesh?
Yeah, so there was a little massaging going on between the league and the union. They asked me to step in as a coach, kind of a neutral figure, to share some. As you recall, the lockout was the organizations versus the player, where coaches weren't allowed to talk to players, and so therefore we weren't able to check on the players, see how they're working out, or do virtual workout. Any of these things that we've been given, when really the factor out there that you're working against right now is the virus. So when we have all these virtual meetings, we could see who's working out, who's not, talk and communicate with the player, and in some cases do virtual workouts with the player. So it's a different communication process that took place. And I think that will help the players coming in be in better shape than maybe what took place. Again, I was a head coach at this. What took place during the lockout time. So that's I think it's a different starting point. I think the setup though is tremendous on how we're giving the players an opportunity to ramp up and get themselves ready to go. And my hat goes off to the league. Like I said, I was just a narrator in there, and between the league and the union, and I appreciate both of them let me in the meeting there, and I think it all worked out well.
All right, guys, we've got time for a couple more here. We're going to go Therese and then close it out with Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Therese.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this. Hope things are well with you.
You bet. Thanks.
Hey, one thing that always interests me is that when you win a title, you suddenly go from being the hunter to the hunted. I could see Patrick is already pretty motivated, by the way. But just from your point of view, what is the message to make sure the focus stays on winning, because you're going to get every team's best shot every single week? How do you keep guys focused on that mental challenge of knowing players are going to play better against you because they want to show off?
Yeah, absolutely. And you cherish that part. You've worked very hard to put yourself into that position. And so you understand that, but you also understand you got to go through the process. And if you're not willing to do that, then good things aren't going to happen. The guys know that. So, and then you got to be blessed with good leaders, and I think we have good leaders on this football team. And I mentioned this to the rookies. I said, take your notes, make sure that you study, make sure you come prepared to meetings and to practice. And I said, and one reason is when you see the veterans do that, that's how they roll. So you better come in ready to go. And if you don't, you're going to fall by the wayside. And that won't change, I don't believe, with this football team. But listen, it's still day by day. That's how you have to go about it. It's not what you did in the Super Bowl here. It's what you do going forward. And so that's, we'll work off of that message there.
Okay, Sam, go ahead and close us out.
Hey, Andy. It's clear that you're confident in what you guys have set up at the facility. And you touched on this a couple times, but obviously you're going to have a lot of guys go their separate ways once they leave the facilities. Is it fair to say that once you start the season, that responsibility is going to be the most important thing to finishing the season? And in that sense, what instructions are you giving players? And how confident are you that 53 guys in a season or 60-some guys in a season are going to abide by those?
Yeah, so again, I take it day by day. I think we're all doing that with this virus. We've learned that through the pandemic. Things change. And so we're going to stick by what the experts tell us. I mentioned this before to you guys, but the simple parts of that we can do is wear our mask when needed. We can wash our hands after contact with people or ourselves, and then make sure we use social distancing again when we can. So those are important things that are base fundamentals with this. We're going to do it, and then they've got the setup here. Whether it's a plexiglass between lockers or whatever, all the different things that they've set up here with separation in the meeting rooms and so on. So we're going to try to abide by that. We're going to try to teach the best way we possibly can, and then we're going to trust the players and the coaches. I'm one of those, right? I'm included in this, that we do the right things when we leave here, and that's really that's all you can do, and then you go play. You focus in on playing.
Coach, we appreciate the time today. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for